The NWSL Challenge Cup final is coming up on Saturday, and here to look ahead to the game, host of the Attacking Third podcast, Lisa Roman, and former US international Laurie Lindsey join us now. Lisa, Laurie, it's so good to see you. Let's talk about the North Carolina Courage. They knocked off the Kansas City Current in the semi-final. Laurie, who is your one to watch for Sean Nahas's side come this weekend?
Yeah, certainly Carson Pickett, the left back for them, had missed the previous two games up until last night due to injury, got some minutes, working her way back in. But this is a player that can change the way that this North Carolina team wants to play. North Carolina loves to get their outside backs forward. Carson Pickett, very much one of those players, up until her injury, had led the team in shots, had led the team in crosses, had led the team also in passes completed in the opposition's defensive third. So this is a player that will look to get forward, try to exploit Washington going forward, and look to see if she can cause some problems and look to get some overloads in that attacking third for North Carolina.
Forward for me is Kerolin for North Carolina. She is so shifty on the ball. She loves to get stacked up 1v1 against defenders, and she draws fouls. She leads North Carolina in fouls drawn throughout the Challenge Cup with 10, 3 of those resulting in penalty kicks. And she plays on the same side as midfielder Debinha. Those two float together, and Kerolin has the freedom to occupy any space she wants on the pitch. Kerolin is able to read opposition so well and find the space, whether it's on the back shoulder of an outside back, sitting between the center backs, or just between the lines in front of the defenders. And Kerolin has made an impact in just a short time in the NWSL, getting her first start against Washington a few matches ago and notching an assist in the semifinal.
Well, Kerolin, the one to watch going forward for the Courage. But let's talk about the Washington attack, because they are so dynamic with the likes of Ashley Sanchez, Ashley Hatch and Trinity Rodman. Lisa, who could really be a difference maker here, do you think?
Forward Ashley Hatch needs to be a difference maker for Washington Spirit. She's tied for the league lead in goals throughout the Challenge Cup with 5, and she has the most amount of touches in the opposition box, but she needs to get on the ball more. In the semifinal, Hatch had 27 touches in the opposition box. The match before, 48 touches, and she netted a brace. With Ashley Hatch on the ball, Washington Spirit is so much more effective in their attacking presence. Hatch can check back for the ball, which allows space in behind for the forwards, Trinity Rodman, Anna Helfredy, and Ashley Sanchez to run off of Hatch. And of course, any aerial ball in the box, that is Ashley Hatch's to grab and get on the end of.
Yeah, I love that from Lisa. And, you know, I think when you think about Trinity Rodman, you think about Ashley Hatch and Ashley Sanchez. Those are the focal point for this Washington Spirit team. But that only works in the attack if a midfielder like Dorian Bailey, who is my key player, is on her game. Coming back from injury, got some minutes in the game last night in the semifinal against OL Reign. But she's the player that makes this team tick. She's good at disrupting play. She can cover a ton of ground. She completes her passes. And when you think about them playing North Carolina in this Challenge Cup, with North Carolina playing in that box midfield, you have to have somebody that's going to control the play, dictate the tempo, get those 3 strikers that we talked about into the mix going forward. Dorian Bailey has to be that player that's going to control the midfield for Washington Spirit.
All right, so they're the ones to watch, but it's time to pick your champion. So, Laurie, I'll come to you first here. Who are you going with to win this year's Challenge Cup?
Yeah, well, I have Washington Spirit going all the way in the regular season as well, with a back-to-back win, and so for me, it's got to be Washington Spirit, just with their mix of the veteran players that they have, but this youthful exuberance that they have with their attackers as well. I think they have the depth. We're going to see a team that has a lot of rotation throughout this Challenge Cup, and they're going to be competing against North Carolina, who hasn't seen a ton of rotation. So I think in the long run, that depth, their youth, and just their willingness and competitiveness to get it done, I give Washington the upper hand.
I agree, Laurie. For me, it's got to be Washington. They enter their 2nd straight final in the 2021 NWSL Championship and now this Challenge Cup Championship. And it's the mix of youthful players that can be anywhere on the pitch. In the semifinal, we saw Ashley Hatch starting in the front line for Chris Ward and his side. I think we'll see her slot back into the midfield, that attacking number 10 presence to break up North Carolina's midfield. But it's the exuberance from the outside backs as well for Washington Spirit, getting forward, providing so much pressure in the attack. They have an incredible goalkeeper in Aubrey Bledsoe that scored a penalty kick in the shootout in the semifinal and made 2 incredible saves. She is soaring high after that semifinal win. They have a taste of what it's like to compete for a long time, going into penalty kicks in the semifinal. I think Washington Spirit has what it takes to go all the way and win the Challenge Cup.
Well, we had 2 dramatic semi-finals, didn't we? And hopefully even more to come in the final. We've got a lot to look forward to with the regular season already underway. But next up, a Challenge Cup champion will be crowned. Lisa, Laurie, thank you so much. And for more on the NWSL, be sure to download and subscribe to the Attacking Third podcast with our very own Lisa Roman and Sandra Herrera to stay up to date with all the latest from the league. Download and subscribe to the Attacking Third podcast today.